Apparently we're live. Okay, let's record. Okay, I think we're live on all channels. We seem to be live. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. We are live. I did have some issues with the YouTube. I'm supposed to be able to switch back and forth between screen sharing and the camera, but that's going to be a pain in the butt, but we'll just move on. So, hello Facebook, hello Instagram, hello my camera that's recording, and hello YouTube. All right, let's do this. So, this is the second Anycubic Mono X that I will have opened. The other one was a customer's who I got to borrow for a while, and when he took it back, I decided I had to get one, so I did. Just open him up, the old chocolate scraper. Now this box did get a little bit banged up. This one was one that we won on eBay. No one else bid on it, so we got it for a bit of a steal. Just unpack it. How are the angles looking, guys? Good check. Fantastic. There's the lid. Some instructions. Outpack. Outcord. The back. Mask filters. Scraper. Build plate. Random tools. All packaging. More packaging. Now, if anyone's got any questions, I have people that can read out the questions to me so I can answer them. So if you've got questions, just ask away in any of the chats. Hopefully we'll see them. This last bit's a bit tricky.
Which cameras do you want?
Pardon?
Which cameras do you want?
The webcam.
Okay.
And there's the main unit. that's it for packaging. It all appears to have arrived safely, despite the box being a bit squished. Okay. That around a little bit. Okie dokie. So we've got our little nicks and knacks. It's got the thumb drive, a few other bits and pieces. Plastic scraper to be used as a last resort if you get something stuck in your pep sheet. It's not really any good for scraping parts off the build plate, I can tell you that. Bag, pair of gloves, very nice. You can use a couple of pairs of gloves. These would be the little knobs. Oh, interesting, there's a top plate on there that there never used to be. My other one doesn't have a top plate on it. So these are the little screws that hold the build plate down. So I'll just go through and show you how it all goes together, but there is a few steps that we need to do, like leveling the bed, etc. So I'll just go through and show you. So that's the build plate, sorry, the pep sheet there. Nice and clean, brand new. And then we've got our build plate. We need to level, so that will be kind of the first thing that happens. It'll be leveled. And we've got some other nicks and knacks. A warranty card, oh that's very fancy, after sales service card. Allen keys, a couple of spare screws for holding down the PEP, I would say. Power gear, which we don't need yet. Actually, we will need the power gear fairly shortly, so I might as well get that ready. Give me a second to plug that in, because we need that for homing it for the leveling the bed. Power set up. Now, is there any questions in the chat, guys? So the YouTube chat is the easiest for you guys to see, and if you haven't already followed us on all of the socials, you probably should. And as the shoot progresses, we'll probably move some of the cameras around and get some different angles. Alrighty. Power. Live. Okay. Space. It appears that there is some leveling feet on the bottom that are not set to level. So I'll just tighten them all down to flat. It's good, my table must be fairly flat. And we have a sticker on here. I don't know whether they want you to peel that sticker off before you level the bed or not. Just have a look. That's the piece of paper that you use. Yeah, they're not mentioning removing that sticker. It's just like a protective sticker on the bed that does have a red sticker for you to peel it by. Yeah, they don't mention removing that at all. I would assume that it wouldn't matter a great deal. You probably could go either way with that. If anyone has an opinion, but don't recall whether I did last time or not. Anyway, plug this in. Yeah. Any questions popping up in? Any, have we even got any viewers? Yeah. just raise the screen, the build plate, sorry. Now, when you get your Anycubic Mono X, you'll see, I don't think anyone can actually see the screen here, but I'm just going to point it that way anyway. The home button is directly below the 10mm button. Be very careful not to press the home button when you don't want it to home, like if you have a model on the build plate. So if you were going to try and move the build plate up for some reason, and you accidentally press home, it's going to lower the build plate with your model straight into your fact sheet and screen. So you do not want to do that. So it's badly placed, just be aware of that. So I'm going to choose 10mm and I'm going to go up. Okay, I'm just going to move this lid right out of the road. I'll do this backwards for everyone else's benefit. So loosen that off. That's going to go under there. But first, what I should have done was loosen these guys. So these four nuts, or bolts I should say, determine the leveling of this bed plate. So it's basically it's loose and free to jiggle around, go anywhere it wants to. And then when you home the machine, just make sure they're very loose. When you're ready to flop around, just get that up for a bit of a close-up. Then we place this piece of paper underneath, and I'll just double check. I'm pretty sure they just want us to home it. Assembly and leveling instructions. Unpack and remove all accessories, then plug in power and turn on the power switch. Rise the Z-axis by 10mm. We did that a few times. And then we need to loosen the screws on the printing platform, put it on, tighten that up, which we have done. Then we just need to home it, yep, thought so. Now you'll see that'll get a chance to settle in. So the build plate just finds where the flat part of the bed is and just settles on it. In the middle. And now I'm going to hold this down firmly while I tighten these up. Now when I'm tightening, I'll do that from behind. When I'm tightening these, I'm being very careful to just go finger tight to start with. Like very lightly finger tight, not even properly finger tight. And I'm just going to work my way around all of them until they're all nice and evenly tight. And then I'll step it up a notch with the tightness. I'm also firmly holding the plate down to the bed, or down to the screen. So that's important because you want that to not jiggle while you do these nuts up, bolts up. Once they're done as tight as you can get them with that, then we'll go around to the long side of the Allen key and give it all a good tighten. Because we do not want this to move around. And take note, when you're taking your models off the build plate, you don't want to do anything that puts any stress between there and there. So you hold it by the plate while you're scraping. You don't hold it by this part. Otherwise, there's a chance that you're going to move it. No, there's a piece of paper between this and the screen, which will prevent that from happening. So there shouldn't be any scratching. And there is still the sticker on there as well, the protective sticker. Okay, so that's nice and tight. So now we can raise that up. So we'll go 10 millimeters and up. Go up a fair way. Yeah, I'm interested by this plate on top. I used to use it on the other machine as a place to safely stow the 2 bolts that hold the FEP sheet down, the back. It's not going to be an option there. Yeah, I just noticed there's a little bit of fluff from the table underneath it, which I just wiped off. Goes down. And insert the bolts. And with these 2 bolts here, again, you don't want to tighten one of them too tight and then find that the other one's going to make it flex or lift up or anything weird like that. So try and get them both the same tightness from the start and just work your way down and get it reasonably tight. You don't need to go nuts. Just got to hold it in place. Ah, I forgot to peel off the sticker sheet. Just peel that off. The way that this sticker was sitting, it's kind of didn't seem like it would really impact very much, and it's quite thin. So I don't know whether I did the right thing by leaving it on or not, but it definitely protected the screen while I did that. I really don't think it makes much difference. The FEP sheet still looks like it's sitting down nice and flat. I don't know. If my first print fails, I'll re-level it without the sticker. I think you've got a little bit of wriggle room really with that. It'll probably contribute to elephant's foot if it's too close. Okay, so that is the machine basically set up. Lid on. Now, of course, you'd normally pour resin in there before you did anything else. Now, the reason I'm not is because I've got UV light coming in from the skylight. There is a little aerial that goes in here. Might as well screw that on. Now, there is a few tests here that I think they want us to perform as well. Just let me go back to the manual. Yep, tighten it all, blah, blah, blah. Ah, you know what I didn't do? I didn't click Z0 to save the 0 position. Oops. I don't think it matters if I take this off or not, but okay, so yeah, after we tighten that up, we tighten those. Step 6, lastly, click Z0 and confirm to save 0 position. Click enter, the printing platform will automatically lift up to a certain height, which is a convenient quick exposure test. All right, so we'll just go back to home with our paper. And because that was where we homed it before, it should be exactly in the same spot. So I'll now press T equals 0, enter, enter again, and now it raises it up. And it's going to do an exposure test here. And in my last video, somebody made a comment about looking at the UV light and how it's not safe. And I would agree, looking at UV light is not safe for your eyes, and I should have been wearing some glasses if I was planning on looking at it. And I'm not going to do that again, just because I live in Australia and there is a lot of UV light here, and it hasn't killed me yet. But I don't recommend not wearing glasses when you do this. So we'll just press exposure, I believe. Where are we? Click detection on screen and select an image and the testing time, and then click next on the screen. So detection, and next. And that's going to light up. Now I'm just not going to look directly at that. It seemed like it worked. I could always whack the lid on, and then that would be relatively safe. And okay, then install the resin vat and then 3D print model. Now it does have door detection function, which I'm going to leave off because I don't like it. And there is a test file on card, which I'm also not going to bother printing. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. So it says not to take the sticker off the back of the machine, which is just here, because that has some kind of RFID or something chip in it. There's a little sticker on the back there, just here. And the machine knows when the lid is on, and it has the option of basically stopping the machine when you lift the lid. I don't like that because I like to be able to lift the lid and watch it print sometimes. So that's that. Alrighty, let's whack that back in. So there's no dust on there. And I'm going to move this printer now into the actual resin room, and then we'll get the cameras to follow me as best as we can. So I'll just unplug that.
Can you explain the protect function?
Sorry, the detect? Protect or detect?
Detect function.
The detect function, yeah. So the detect function is where it will detect that the lid is on, and there's an option in the settings. Is that what I mean? The detect function. Oh yeah, that is basically. I'm pretty sure that's just to check that the screen is actually the light in the screen is actually working, and it shows you what images it should detect. So anyhow, that's that. We're ready to basically move this in and fill it up with some resin. So maybe start with the YouTube webcam and then we'll go from there. Okay, so this is the resin room. I've got a curtain here to keep the UV light out. And that's where it's going to call home. So I'm just going to get the other bits and the other cameras. I'll be back with you YouTubers shortly. Whilst I trip over the cord for the YouTube. Okay, so Instagrammers can get a different camera angle. Okay, there we go. And the Facebookers will get a similar angle to the Instagrammers, I guess. Okay. Now what I might do is actually spin this one around for a second and just sort of give everyone a little bit of a tour of the resin room. So if you're not already watching on Instagram, Instagram's going to go for a little tour of the resin room. So we've got a place for the resin printer to sit. It's got some glass underneath it, so it's nice and flat. We've got a cleanup zone over here, so I've got my gloves, a bucket of used metho, some buckets of used metho that I'm filtering, so bottles rather. This is my filter. So I filter the used metho to get the junk out of it. I've got a little Anycubic Photon in here, who lives in a box, so that it doesn't stink as much. We have ventilation over here, which I should plug in shortly. We also have ventilation up here, so it's a ventilated space. I've also got a couple of other printers printing here. Oh, that one's not printing, I tell a lie. Alrighty, so let's get back to here. We'll copy you guys on Instagram down, give Facebook a quick tour, and we'll get the other eye. We've got that through. So here's the Mono X. You've all heard what I said before, I suppose. So that's my kind of cleanup zone. Dedicated bench. Now this sink, I didn't mention the sink to the Instagram. That sink just drains into a drum. So that sort of just goes down into there. And in this box, we've got my, hey Tom, thanks for joining, mate. We've got the original photon. So filter, I actually use old masks as a filter for filtering my resin. Very handy. Yeah, so there we go. But let's just hope that none of the cameras get in each other's way. So that's where the printer's going to live. And I best take YouTube for a little tour as well. So I don't know what YouTube, I can't see this camera because it's a webcam. So we've got the resin cleanup station. We've got a sink that drains into a drum so that any sort of waste resin-y metho gets drained into there. Over in that corner we have the little photon original, and yeah, this is just my basic sticky zone, the general zone of mess. We have a ventilation fan down the bottom corner and another one up the top. Alrighty, so now we're going to make our way out to the other room where the computer is, and I'm going to prepare a file for resin printing. Give this camera a quick tour. Oh yes, I'll put some resin in the printer and get it ready while I've got the cameras in here. Alrighty, let's see. Get all the cameras pointing happily together. Okay. So I'll just glove up. Now, which resin will I use? I think, since I'm going to be printing a crow, now I haven't used this black resin with my other Mono X, but we'll give it a whirl. So I've got some Monocure 3D Rapid black. Now apparently they've got a new black coming out, which is blacker. So I'm interested in that. Straight on the bottle there. All you streamers. And I need to get some power happening in here as well. Heather, could I? Oh, you've got the power cord already? Okay. Just unplug my gloves, or unplug my gloves, undo my gloves while I change this. Now for the YouTube stream, it's going to have to probably stop and start again when I switch because I can't screen share currently. So we'll cut that and start it again. The other channels I'll probably just keep on. So everyone just juggling the power cords. Sorry, Facebook, I just bumped you. Okay. I think Facebook's pointing up in the air a little bit, but it's just too bad. Just have to look at that. Also, I generally prefer not to use the gloves to touch the buttons. So I'm going to go Tools, Move Z, and Home. Go back to shaking my resin. Now there is a max fill line, and for some silly reason they've got it facing the opposite way to what I thought they would. So I've got my vat in backwards. It won't matter. Normally the fill tube line is actually out the back, but you can see it. And I also don't touch the lid with the gloves on. So I just put my resin up. What I didn't mention before is I have a spray bottle with metho in it. It's a great spray bottle, it's a pump pack. And I use it to clean my gloves as well as other things. So I reuse the gloves. So it's just a good idea not to have sticky crap all over your gloves. So I try and keep them as clean as I can. Because you've got to touch them to take them off usually anyway. So it's kind of a good idea to not just have them covered in scum. Okay, that's pretty much ready to roll. Just pop the lid on. And I'll quickly show you guys this, which coincidentally is hanging right here. This is a raven skull. And it's been covered in a product called precious metal clay and then fired in a kiln. So the bone's actually burnt out. And I did keep the feathers from under the neck and put them back on afterwards. I have a bit of a thing for crows. I used to have a pet raven. They are a raven, not a crow, in this particular case anyway. So that is pretty damn cool, if I must say so myself. Give YouTubers a bit of a look. And so the reason I'm mentioning this is because I'm about to print a crow. So let's migrate our way out to the other space. Alrighty. There's, whoopsie daisies, nearly tripping over. There's Julia, not this way. Alrighty. Let's get the camera over here to my computer zone. Now, I hadn't really thought about where I was going to put the cameras for the other channels here yet. I'll try and put them where you can see the screen. And I'm going to restart the YouTube stream so that the screen is seen, because that's not much of a view. Could grab the other cameras. So sorry YouTube, I'm going to stop this stream and I'm going to start it again, okay? Because I can't figure out how to change cameras within the stream unless I can figure it out. Just give me a second. I might be able to figure out how to change it. Edit. Details, description, schedule, visibility. Playlists. No, I don't think I can change it from here. So I'll just have to pop out for a moment. And where is the end stream button? Come on, where are we? Ah, there, the big one says end stream.